Hello again, everybody. You're listening to the Total Basis Podcast. I am your host, Felipe. That is my co-host over there, Sean Flannery. Sean, how you doing this morning?
I'm making it. I'm allergies bothering me, but hey, we're gonna make it, and I'm gonna use my little cough button over here so the recording doesn't sound like shit.
All right. Well, we got a couple of people already joining us. There's Jacob. There's Angel. Yes, we're here early morning because I got things to do later this afternoon. So let's just get to it. We got a lot of trades to cover. See how many we can cover in quick manner. The first one up is Garrett Clevenger, 28-year-old relief pitcher, going to the Tampa Bay Rays, solidifying that bullpen there. High strikeout rate, high walk rate. I don't think we need to talk about him. He's already 28. The guy I am really curious about, though, 18-year-old Germán Tapia, right-handed outfielder. 6'2", 170. Right now with the what I forgot what the DSL stands for.
Dominican Summer League.
Oh, we got one of those kids. All right.
Yeah, a teenager that hasn't even made his stateside debut.
Well,
classic.
Well, so far in for the Tampa Bay Rays Dominican Summer League, walking more than striking out, but it is after only 100 plate appearances in 26 games, but it's doing pretty good, pretty well. Anything? I mean, I know it's the DSL. I don't expect you to know much about this kid, but is there anything else we need to discuss about him?
I just think it's the fact that it's two teams, the Dodgers and the Rays, that it's like, what do they know? I think Clevenger will be really good in Tampa.
Yeah, they'll fix his walk issues.
The big lefty throws hard. I mean, but yeah, the other, I don't know. It's just very interesting. That seems like a trade that would have gone, like Clevenger would have gone to LA and Tampa would have acquired the 19-year-old. But,
Yeah, that is weird. You're right. But, Tampa has a way of getting these high upside. I'm not gonna wait. That's the wrong word. Upside. No, but you're right. These guys with the interesting peripherals and stuff like that.
I mean, because it wasn't really that long ago that the Dodgers acquired a relief pitcher at the deadline, Josh Fields from the Houston Astros, and in return they sent I think he was 18 at the time, a big first base outfielder prospect named Yordan Alvarez, and we know how that one ended up.
You heard it here first, man. Germán Tapia is going to be the next Yordan Alvarez.
Okay, let's not go that far. That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Go pick up Germán Tapia
right now.
If you're in a dynasty league, just do it.
What are you even doing if Germán Tapia is not on your team? Which somebody said, I think it was Andrew in one of the group chats I'm in with him. He said Germán Tapia just seems like one of those generic automated names from MLB The Show when you're like in a franchise 15 years down the road, because Germán Tapia, that's two names that have been around in baseball like for a while. You got Domingo Germán, Raimel Tapia, boom,
yeah.
Germán Tapia.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Garrett Clevenger, 96 mile per hour fastball, throws a lot of sliders, so we'll see. Again, the walk rate's pretty high, but if anyone can fix him, it's the Tampa Bay Rays. What if it's just Andrew Friedman who remembers this Germán Tapia kid when he was like 12 years old? Like, I want him back. I've been scouting him back. I've been scouting him since he was in 6th grade. God damn it! All right, let's move on to Anthony Misevich.
Boring.
Yeah, wasn't he at one point though? First of all, how do you pronounce his name?
I'm not going to even try.
Well, here's my best Polish. It's Anthony Misevich.
Misevich.
Because the W's say they pronounce them like V's.
Yeah.
Misevich. At one point, this guy was a pretty decent relief pitcher. Not the best, but not the worst either. But I guess that was ages ago. Oh, okay. Wow. I feel like he's been in the league forever, but I guess it's only been since 2020. All right. Never mind. Yeah. Strikeout rates are low. So he'll fit right in with the Kansas City Royals.
Left-handed relief pitcher. That's all it is. Left-handed. Actually, okay, so there was more than just Will Smith that got traded as a lefty reliever, but this one was this one was boring. This is just Dipoto needed money for a deal. He has more than enough relief pitchers.
Well, that's the thing.
Kansas City, the poor Kansas City team sends Seattle, the slightly less poor team, some money so they can get better players.
That's so dumb. I don't get it. But no, here it is, man. The most important player of all time, it's on the Mariners now, and it's cash considerations.
Hey, he had a busy weekend. He had a busy week.
Yeah. So okay, so low strikeout pitcher fits right well with the Kansas City Royals because that's all they do over there. We have now a Raynel Espinal pitcher going to the Cubs for Dixon Machado. So we know who Dixon Machado is, but is it worth talking and mentioning Raynel Espinal here?
No,
I can't even.
30-year-old pitcher. No.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, right.
He only has like 2 innings last year with, I think it was like some Boston, Tampa, no, one of those teams. But yeah, 30-year-old relief pitcher. Actually, he started some games in the last few years.
That's all right.
But yeah, 30 years old and he's been in the minors, so whatever.
Next up is this is another underwhelming trade. Yeah, so everybody only talks about the big name trades, but have you seen this Eheri Adrianza going to the Atlanta Braves shortstop? I think he
plays everywhere. He was with them last year as well.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, he longtime Twin, then went to the Giants, then was with Atlanta to end last year, signed with Washington. Washington DFA'd him. That's got to be embarrassing, right? You're playing for the worst team in baseball and you get DFA'd. But no, he ended the year. He had that big double in the playoffs in the NLCS against the Dodgers. So with Ozzie Albies out, the Braves looking to add a little bit of depth, bringing Eheri Adrianza back onto the roster. Trey Harris was an interesting little prospect. So a nice ad for Washington. I think that's pretty good value for them to get out of a guy that was, DFA material.
A guy who looks like he can control his strikeouts, but doesn't do much of anything else. And right now, 238 of batting average in Double-A for the Atlanta Braves when he was with the Braves. 338 on base percentage, which is pretty respectable. But there's really nothing else here. Nothing really to talk about in terms of his grades. Some raw power, but 5'11", 220. Yeah, he's a pretty big kid, I guess. But already 26 years old. So let's move on to the next guy on the list, Scott Efros for Hayden Wesneski.
This was the really weird deal to me.
Why?
Because the Yankees went out and just absolutely massacred their pitching depth. And this was the first kind of domino of that, because Wesneski went, Waldichuk went, Jordan Montgomery went, and like Scott Efros is good. Like he's having a good year, side arming, kind of almost underarm like Bradford. Yeah. But to me, like I know that Michael King went down, and that the Yankees were like kind of panicking to fill that hole.
Yeah.
But giving up Wesneski for Efros, a 28-year-old side-arming right-handed relief pitcher, seemed like, even though Efros is good and has 5 years of control, that's where a lot of Efros's value came from, was he's got 5 more years.
See, that's the cost, man. I mean,
but
that's the cost.
I just don't get it, because I mean, he's 28. Like we've seen these side armors, like they're good one year and then they get blown up the next.
But he's proven that he can be effective. He's proven that he can produce in a major league level.
One season doesn't prove a reliever.
2 seasons now. Come on, man.
He had like 10 innings last year.
14, but 60. Okay, so 60.
We'll round down.
60. All right, so it's 60 innings, right? 60 innings of where he's produced a K per 9 above 10. Really does a great job controlling the walks, which is, if you're a Yankees fan, that's all you really could ask for. Just have a guy who has control out of the bullpen and who can frustrate hitters, because he doesn't throw hard. He averages a 90-mile-per-hour fastball.
I mean, he's a side armor. It's all about the deception and the angle and the slider. I mean,
hey, man, Steven Cishek, you're talking bad about these side arm relievers.
I like Cishek. Cishek at least had like an elite ground ball rate.
I don't like Steve Cishek. I just thought he was overrated when he was here. But you know what? He's survived. He's been in the league forever. You know who else has been in the league forever? Chad Bradford. Okay.
Well, not Chad Bradford.
I think he was in that movie too, right?
He was in that movie we were talking about. He wasn't played by Chris Pratt, but he was a big part of the movie. He had that Southern accent and loved God.
So the starting rotation still looks pretty damn good for the Yankees with Garrett Cole, Nestor Cortez, Domingo Germán. You just mentioned him earlier for other reasons. Frankie Montes and Jameson Taillon. Still a very good starting rotation.
But there's no depth. I mean, the fact that Domingo Germán has to be in their rotation for the last 2 months of the year is pretty damning for them.
Well, he was a starting pitcher.
But he's not. He wasn't a good starting pitcher.
I don't know, man.
He had like one good half season. Like his rookie year, he had the 3 ERA. But I mean, that was 15 innings, and then I mean, literally, from 2018 to 2022, 345 innings, 4.62 ERA.
Okay, in 2021, when he got back from the COVID and the whole disappear for a year and then come back when those allegations are gone. I mean, he had a pretty damn good season. At K per 9 of 9, 2.5, I guess we'll round up, 2.5 walk per 9 rate.
Gives up way too many home runs.
Okay, well, that's.
I mean, like expected. a lot of home runs.
That's expected. He pitches at Yankee Stadium, but still, I mean, he does that. He'll be fine. I know the ERA is really high, but
he'll be fine.
The peripherals are also damning, but in 2021, but there's some hope here. There's some hope. There's the guy who can strike out a decent amount of players and control his walks. He's already had 4 starts under his belt. But no, I don't think it's time to panic just yet if you're the Yankees.
I'm not saying panic. I'm just saying there's no depth. And there's there's now nothing in AA or AAA of like your top pitching prospects that you had. They're gone. They are a non-existent.
Well, you still got David Garcia, who is a former.
Have you looked at Davies' numbers lately?
No, I haven't. I just remember that he was a
top prospect. Yeah, of course, everybody does. It was it's not been pretty. The strikeouts are gone. The walks were always bad, and now they're worse. Has a 10.38 ERA and 7 starts at AAA this year, and it also had 2 starts in AA, where he did okay, but
he did okay.
He sucks.
Well, he's still only 23 years old. I know it's a hell of a thing to ask a young kid like him to, hey, we're gonna need you in September, but they've done it before with him. And that's where a lot of the hope came.
Okay, and if anything, he's just a slightly worse Domingo Germán.
Slightly worse. No,
I think he's slightly worse.
No, I think he's just unproven, man. And I think all this shuffling has really messed him up too. Like he's in the big leagues one year for one day, and then he goes back to the minors, and he starts out in AA after getting into AAA, and now he's back in AAA. So I think it's I don't know. It just doesn't look like a very good planning there by the Yankees, but we still it's still early August. We'll see how he does in AAA the rest of the month. I've always liked him. I don't know.
He's actually he was activated off AAA's IL just at the end of July, and those last 2 starts have been made in AA.
Okay,
which he's going the wrong way. And anytime you see a prospect doing this, it's kind of a red flag to me.
Well, there's many ways to get back into the big leagues, man. I don't know. I mean, all hope is not lost. I mean, the fact that he's posted a 14K per 9, 2 starts in AA. What you said after injury? Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was a finger, probably blister. I don't know. I mean, he was out for most of June.
Okay. Well, 14K per 9 is still damn good, even if you're coming back from injury, even if you're you were at AAA, then you went back to AA, and then you went to the big leagues, and then you went back to AA, and then going back to AAA. It's a lot of movement, man. It's a lot of movement. Let's give the kid some time. He has a month to get his things together. Hold on. Let me see here. I'm just looking at some things. No, nothing there. Nothing there. Okay. Well, the one thing I could say that's decent about Domingo Germán this year is that he only has a 57.6% outside the strike zone contact rate. That's a thing, right? That's decent. That's not bad.
Yeah, let's just look how much he gets dominated in the zone, though.
Well, so just don't pitch in the zone.
Oh, okay. That's the key to success.
Paint the corners.
We've spent too much time on this one. The big one is next.
paint the corners. No, I'm just trying to figure out what's up with all this panic here with the Yankees. I mean,
I don't think it's panic. I just think it's a very interesting move by
no,
Cashman.
when you say things like they got rid of all their pitching depth, their pitching depth is gone, like that does sound like people are panicking. I mean, and like, why did they do this? Why did they do that? And I think the whole idea is, listen, it's going to be the playoffs. You don't need 4 starters. You just need a guy like Domingo Germán to just hold it down. Just hold it down for the next couple of months or so. Just give us 4 innings, and then our dominant bullpen's going to get in there and, just get in. I mean, it's been so far, right? I mean, isn't that what the Yankee fans?
Clay Holmes has completely fallen apart.
Yeah, and
Chapman is Chapman. Michael King is gone.
Hey, Scott Effers, though, he got the hold, already doing his job.
Yeah, he got the hold just so Clay Holmes could blow it, right?
That's not his problem. That's not his fault. He did his job, right?
Yeah.
And then they went with Lou Trevino, which I get it. We talked about Lou Trevino before, about the peripherals being decent, despite the fact that all his traditional stats are just god awful. But yeah, they went with Trevino and Chapman on Saturday. I don't know if there's another guy missing there, but well, let's take a look. So you can see that you got me curious. We were going to talk about certain players here, but now you got me really curious. So what I'm going to do here, Sean, I just want to see, because I thought that the Yankees, they're having a great season, right? Remember, Fangraphs at the beginning of the year, way back at the beginning of the year in March, rated them as the number 1 offense, the number 1 starting rotation, and the number 1 relief core by projected WAR numbers, right?
Yeah.
So pick a stat, any stat. What do you want to look at?
XFIP.
XFIP. Oh, okay. XFIP though. Oh, I hate XFIP. All right, so here we go. I'm ranking them, sorting it by lowest to greatest. Yankees are number 3 still. Number 3, what were we doing? Bullpen? Yes. The number 3 bullpen according to XFIP, right behind the Mets and the Dodgers. Those are 2 really good teams. So you can't even say, oh, well, XFIP is a bullshit statistic. Well, 2 of the best teams in the National League have the best relief core in Major League Baseball this year. And then the Yankees are number 3. Number 4, the Cleveland Guardians. And to everybody's surprise, well, not everybody's surprised. I just realized my camera is shaking, so I'm sorry about that. Rounding out the top 5 are the Baltimore Orioles. So there it is. This is a bullshit stat. No, really quick. Hayden Wisniewski, big right-hander. Well, not too big. 6'3", 210-pounder. Comes armed with a decent fastball. Really good slider, apparently. 60 out of 60 grade. Comes with a cutter. Still working on that command. Although the control numbers in the minor leagues are pretty damn good so far in AAA this year. And in close to 90 innings. The strikeout rate is low, but the walk rate is only at 2.81, which is pretty darn good. ERA kind of matches the peripherals, although the XFIP is at 470. So there's a home run issue with him there. So I guess I'm assuming that the 470 XFIP means that his low home run totals are fluky. Yeah, 0.90 home run per 9 innings. So XFIP is saying, yeah, that's kind of fluky. He should.
Yeah, but okay, actually, this is the one that went to the Cubs. Never mind. I was about to say, hey, he's going to get to pitch in the Coliseum, so you don't have to worry about that. But Wisniewski's going to the Cubs. So Wisniewski can either allow a lot of home runs or allow very little home runs, depending on when he gets to pitch it regularly.
Yeah, and it looks like he's never have given up a lot of home runs here. Let me see. And the X-Factors have always been respectable. He's a decent ground ball pitcher, so that's a good thing. But to me, this guy screams pitch to contact pitcher. We'll see how
he's had some games where like he does strike out a lot. And I think he's more of one of those, like, the sum of his parts. Like, he kind of throws almost the kitchen sink at you to where you don't really know what's coming. And some games, it's almost like a Chris Bassett type, where it's, the fastball cutter, and then you get a curveball, then you get a biting slider. It's just a very interesting profile. I really like him. In Double-A last year, he had some like great starts that I was really impressed with.
Yeah, so I think he just screams to me. He just screams mid rotation starter at best. So good for pitching depth, but I know that people get hung up on the rankings, and there was a controversy as to where exactly was his proper ranking with the Yankees, and I think I said Fangraphs had him at number 7, which
and Baseball America had him at 4.
Yeah, so let's just, for the sake of argument, since we're using Fangraphs for everything, let's just stick with Fangraphs at number 7.
Boo!
That's not too bad, but it's, come on, it's, again, these rankings are dynamic. They're not.
They're arbitrary too.
Well, they're not.
At least we're not using MLBs, right?
I mean, they're arbitrary in the sense that, depending on who is administering the rankings, you don't know where they're going to fall.
Yeah.
There's some use to it, but they're not the end all be all. All right. While I load up these names now, my computer has decided not to work properly. But yeah, you mentioned it. The Brewers and the Padres made a pretty big trade. Taylor Rogers, Robert Gasser, S3E28, Dinelson Lamet goes to the Brewers because they didn't want to pay Josh Hader. So Hader is now a Padre. So the joke was that, well, because of this trade, the Brewers save about $4 million, right? Because I think Taylor Rogers is making $7 million this year, and Hader is making 11, and he's going to be a free agent soon. And wait, wouldn't Taylor Rogers also become a free agent?
Taylor Rogers, I think, is under control. Let me pull up. He might be a free agent though. Yeah, he is a free agent. But you have to also look at this as, this is probably the highest value for Hader. I'm sure the Brewers weren't happy that he decided to just shit the bed the month of July, and kind of dampen that trade value a little bit. Yeah. But I mean, this was the time to move him because rental RPs don't net you as much, even if you are a Josh Hader type. But they move him with still yet another year left next year. And then, of course, they have the built-in replacement for Josh Hader and Devin Williams, who honestly might be better than Hader. He's not as exciting. He doesn't have the flowy hair, but he could honestly, if used as much as Hader was, be better. I think that's a legitimate argument to have.
I don't know, man. You're talking about Josh Hader being one of the most dominant relief pitchers in the last, what would you say, 4 years at this point?
I mean, I'd say goings ever since he entered the league. I mean, from the moment he kind of just stepped onto the scene, Josh Hader's been elite.
Elite, right? And then Devin Williams,
has also been elite.
Damn good, but he's also punched himself out of the playoffs, right? Then he break his hand because he punched the wall.
No, that was that was during the celebration. Huascar Yanoa was the one I think that broke his hand. I think Devin Williams broke his hand celebrating. I don't think it was an anger thing.
Either way, I mean, he broke his hand doing something that's considered foolish. That you should be able to control your emotion. I mean, how do you break your hand celebrating?
Right here, maybe. Let me look. You keep going.
You high five someone too much or too hard? I guess I don't know. Let's see. Okay,
no, he did punch the wall. Okay,
yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So mine is still kind of sharp here. I had to restart my Google Chrome as it's not been a good morning for me in terms of using that Google Chrome machine. So now I got to go back. There's a trade right there. So it's Robert Gasser, S3E28, and Dinelson Lamet's already been released, and now he's with
Colorado
Rockies.
Yep.
All right, that's
everyone's like, oh, why would they Lamet was supposed to be a piece of that trade. There were some later trades that Milwaukee made at the deadline that we'll get to, involving acquiring 2 major league relief pitchers, which is where they were likely to put Lamet. That kind of forced them into a roster crunch, and so they DFA'd him and then traded him to Colorado.
Okay. So we got to look at that, but I just got to let you know, man. I was listening to the Rates and Barrels podcast with DVR, Darren Van Riper, and Saris, and they trashed this deal completely, trashed it. So, and I have to agree, unless I'm not too familiar with Robert Gasser, so this will be the first time I'm actually seeing his profile. So let's take a look. 40 graded fastball, 60 slider, a high upside slider there, decent upside on the changeup at 50 top level grade, and the command's where it's at 35 out of 55 though. So he was
having a good year in high for San Diego. You see that K per 9, tipping over 11.5, K percentage over 30, and he's a lefty, so I know a lot of people wanted to jump all over this trade. Initially, when I saw it, I was like, okay. But you also have to think that this is the Brewers. I think they've earned the benefit of a doubt when they make trades like these. This is what they do. They make trades like when they traded Carlos Gomez to the Houston Astros for Domingo Santana and a bag of balls of prospects, basically.
Yeah.
But you know who was in that bag of balls?
I forget.
Josh Hader.
Okay.
Josh Hader was in that deal. So when they make these trades and we feel like they got gypped or whatever, like Estuary Ruiz, he was the guy that had the 60 stolen bases in like 60 games down in the minor leagues, and he got called up for the Padres. But they've set him down. I think he could be an everyday center fielder going forward for them, which has really been a problem position for the Brewers the last year and a half with Lorenzo Cain just being old.
You know what they call that story Ruiz on the Rates and Barrel podcast?
What?
They call him Tony Kemp. He's basically Tony Kemp.
Oh, no, he's so much faster than Tony Kemp.
They're saying that if you mentioned center field, but they were talking about him as a left fielder. So as a left fielder, clearly the value goes way down because
I think he's a center fielder.
Well, they mentioned that he's a guy who doesn't hit for a lot of power. The ISO power is hovering around 100, but 0.100 to be exact.
Yeah.
Around there. So there was like two guys that they mentioned that.
I mean, he had 13
left fielder.
He had 13 home runs in 77 games.
Hey man, don't exaggerate. Oh, you're combining.
Yeah, but like in 2022, like when he was in San Diego.
I see 9 home runs in San Diego.
Double A, Triple A.
Oh, I see it now. Yeah, there it is. So they were talking about the left fielders, guys who hover around the ISO power level of 100, and Tony, it's 2 players, right? And Tony Kemp's one of them. And when I heard that, like, man, I don't need that in my life, man. Why would you do this? But if he's a center fielder, I guess that works better than.
Like, I feel like at minimum, this is like Miles Straw, and at best, it's. I'll come back to me. I'll get you a better comp, but keep going.
Well, I mean, if it's a guy with a low hit tool, raw power is decent, but the game power is not going to be there, and a lot of speed. Jackie Bradley Jr., man, congratulations.
No.
I think that might have been the other name they mentioned, but I know that Bradley's not a left fielder. But
well, I mean, there was like a pretty drastic change from pre-COVID Estuary Ruiz to post-COVID Estuary Ruiz. Last year, we saw the strikeouts really come down, the walks stayed the same, and then coming into this year, the walks went up, strikeouts came down even a little bit further. So he's definitely controlling the zone better, and he's still just 23. I think he's a dynamic player. I could see 15 home runs a year at his peak.
Well, I don't know. The trade to me, I mean, I figure Lamet. Okay, well, if anyone can fix Lamet, it would be the Brewers, and then they go on ahead and drop them. But he goes to the Rockies, so obviously the Brewers had to get some pieces back. So eventually we'll get to it. But I don't know, man. Josh Hader, still one more year of arbitration. I know that the arbitration is going to probably raise his price. And
I honestly wouldn't be shocked if San Diego flips him.
Yeah, probably. And
just because because their their money situation going into next year, and we haven't even gotten to the big doozy of a mall trade. But yeah, their money situation next year is they're in trouble. Yeah, in terms of like their free agents and who they all have now. It's going to be interesting to see how they get through it.
And I believe that they'll get better prospects there. I said it. Okay, well, Gas is okay. I like Gas.
If you think so.
Gas is okay. I like the profile I just saw there. Ruiz, I just can't get out of the fact that they basically got Tony Kemp according to the Rates and Barrels podcast. I'm like, man, if that's the case, that's a thumbs down for me. But hey, the stolen base potential is there. So I just, if he's a center field, like you said, all right, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But if he's going to be left fielding, weak hitting left fielders like that, I can't dig that, man. I can't do it. Won't do it. All right. Red Sox get Tommy Pham, and it seems like they just got older. And I'm looking at their roster resource lineup right now. Lineup's decent. It's not too bad. It's just weird because they're not going anywhere this year, but they still have a bunch of old guys in there. And I'm just trying to figure out what the whole point to this. But clearly, this is a throwaway season. This is a failed season by them. They're in last place to the Orioles. They're 2 games behind, and Once again, my computer is just not having a really good morning this morning. But that was Tommy Pham. What was the next trade there? Because I'm in the dark now.
Yeah, the next trade was going to be the Yankees and A's, where the Yankees get Frankie Montas and Lou Trevino for J.P. Sears, Ken Waldachuk, Luis Medina, and second baseman Cooper Bowman. Once again, going back to the Cubs trade, which was I consider the first domino of the Yankees just kind of pushing all their chips in for this year. Ken Waldachuk, I think, was the best pitching prospect moved at the deadline, because I'm not counting Gore as a prospect anymore. But Waldachuk was posting some pretty impressive numbers, even behind the scenes in terms of the people that have access to it, in like minor league hard hit rates and avoiding hard hit rates, just posting some silly numbers, and with strikeouts in AAA as well. In 11 starts, he had a K per 9 over 13, 3.5 ERA. Could do a little better to get the ball on the ground, but this is a guy who, pitching in the Coliseum, I think could really kind of blow up.
Yeah, and I'm back. You know me, I always like Frankie Montas, so I'm okay with that. I don't really see a problem there.
Yeah, I'm worried about Frankie Montas outside of Oakland. He's always had pretty extreme splits while in Oakland. I believe this year they're like even more pronounced. Yeah, 4.8 ERA outside of the Coliseum.
Yeah, and I get all that, but still, I mean, it's not as bad to hurt his overall numbers, and I think it might be one of those. Yeah, I know that the Coliseum is humongous, but it could be one of those things where maybe he just likes being home. There's a routine there. He's not on the road. I know other players have mentioned that the difference is being at home and being on the road. So, but I like this trade for the Yankees. I know that, oh no, they gave up all their pitching depth, but it's now a very good, very God-fearing lineup, starting rotation. I think if you're an opponent, you don't want to see Garrett Cole and
6 runs in the first inning. Garrett Cole. Oh yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's pretend that Garrett Cole isn't a good pitcher here. And then you still got Frankie Montas, and you still got I forgot who their second guy was. Oh man.
Nestor Cortez.
Yeah, who's I've been waiting all year for the bottom to fall out on Nestor Cortez, and all he does is produce and be effective and efficient. And he made the All-Star team this year, and he's very he could be very crafty, even though he doesn't have to be all the time. But he likes to mess around with the arm angle and the timing mechanisms that he uses. Just a fun guy to watch. And yeah, so, and then Lou Trevino, we talked about Lou Trevino all the time. But yeah, I can see why Yankee fans are like, oh no, where's our pitching depth? Who are we going to call up next year? But listen, man, just get to the playoffs. You're on cruise control. You're at the top of the league division right now.
I mean, sure, they're 1 through 3 is good, but you're talking about relying on down the stretch the last 2 months, Domingo Germán and Jamison Tyone combining for 20-something starts. Mm-hmm. I don't like their chances in those 20 games.
Oh, come on.
Just not at all.
There's about 10 games ahead of the Blue Jays.
I don't think that they built up such a lead. I'm not worried about that.
So then what's to worry about? We're panicking about things that it's the worst case scenarios here.
It doesn't make sense to me.
You have 2 more months to go. 20 games. You just said 20 starts. I've been doubting Nestor Cortez for about a good.
I haven't. I always liked him.
Okay, and he's proven that he can do the job. All right, so and
he's one of those 3 that are good.
Yes, I know. I mentioned them to begin with, and then we got Jamison Tyone, who I also been waiting for the bottom to fall out. Like, this guy should just be crumbling everywhere, and he doesn't. Every time I've been waiting for him to crumble, he doesn't crumble. So there's your top 4 right there, and then Domingo Germán, he just has to show up and pitch 4 innings. And then, give way to the number 3 best bullpen in the league and just go over there. This isn't 2004 baseball anymore. We're not depending on these starters to go 6 innings. We just need these starters to just go 4, maybe 5 innings, and then you give way to your
I
number three
mean,
bullpen.
I'll mention this with Tyone. 25 innings pitched in July, ERA over 5. In his one start he's made in August, he gave up 5 earned runs in only 4 innings. So
yeah, it's the ebb and flow in baseball, man. We talk about it all the time. One bad month can be a good month next month. I don't know. But we talk about it all the time. There's an ebb and flow to all of this. There's regression works both ways.
He had a 4.5 ERA in June, 5 in July, and we're sitting at a 9.5 in August. So, Jameson Tyone is your number 4 starter, guys.
Still has a 3.96 ERA overall this season. The larger sample size is better than the smaller sample size. We know that.
I'm just saying there's a pattern here.
Yeah, I know that there's a trend that's not going his way, but still, it's still a 1.66 walk per 9 rate. I mean, control is key. That's the reason why he's been so reliable. Overall, I know that we want to isolate this to 2 bad months, but overall, it's still not bad. The peripherals are pretty darn respectable. He's about to match his 2.0 WAR from last year, if not supersede that or over exceed that. It's not the end of the world. And pitching depth, I mean, you just need some spot starters. I mean, how hard is it to find spot starters if you're Yankees? You have all the resources. Go out and utilize the ridiculous resource that you have as being the number 1 team in all the land. But yeah, stop with the excuses. I mean, it's the Yankees. I don't understand what
it's the Yankees.
I mean, come on, just go into your big bag of tricks and just,
big bag of tricks, more like big bag of money.
Whatever, tricks, money. I mean, because they have the money, but they also have a really darn good farm system, and they didn't have to trade all their best players either. That's the thing that's so damning about this whole thing, that they needed all these big name players to bolster their roster, and they didn't have to give up any of their big name prospects.
I mean, Wisniewski and Waldichuk were pretty big names.
But stop with Wisniewski.
Okay,
oh my God.
Okay, everyone's like, oh, they have a great farm system. Yes, they have a good farm system, but they didn't give up any of their top position players. They gave up nearly all of their pitchers.
Those are better than the pitching prospects.
I know, but they gave up nearly all.
Shit. That's what prospects are. The big.
Okay, then why are we applauding them keeping their Anthony Volpes or their Oswald Perazzas? They should have just traded them. They should have traded them.
Yes, they should have, but they didn't. And you know what? If they fail again because they were too, it goes both ways, Sean. I mean, it's not one or the other. It goes both ways. Congratulations. Yes, you gave away your pitching. Who gives a shit about the fucking pitching prospects? All right, they're the most volatile prospects of them all.
Okay. Not when they're already in AAA.
No. Even if they're in AAA, once they get to we've seen guys in AAA go up to the big leagues and do nothing. I mean,
we've seen that from hitters too.
Okay, but let's face it, the hitters are more reliable than the pitching. I mean, we've seen your guy, Thomas Chapusky. That's your guy, right? The Mets, who was with the Mets. He got blasted on his one start with the in the big league club.
Yeah, he was also playing against like the ultimate platoon
team.
It
doesn't fucking matter, Sean. It doesn't matter.
Had not been a top prospect in almost like 4 or 5 years.
Okay, well, either way, that says volatile. Even the ones who are under the radar, who you're not supposed to expect much from anything, they're gonna falter too. You don't know what to expect from these guys. But the ones that they clearly, you could tell they clearly value were the hitting prospects. The hitting prospects are more valuable than the pitching prospects.
I agree. I agree. Okay. I agree.
So with that being said, yes. If they really wanted to, because I agree with the Rates and Barrels podcast about the Yankees and the Mets as well, because the Mets also, I don't care what you say, the Mets also kind of shit the bed on the trade deadline too. But here it is, man. If you're the Mets and the Yankees, you're just supposed to go in there and just be a freaking monster and just get the players that you need to go for this championship run, right? And especially for the Yankees, you've been winning a long time if you're a Yankees fan for this to happen. And it's awesome. It's great. You didn't trade your prospects, but guess what? We talked about it, Sean, right? 2017, Justin Verlander goes to the Houston Astros at the very last minute, which, that's the way it was scripted by Rob Manfred, right? Not the whole WWE is baseball and baseball is WWE. But, they went for the juggler. And I was going to ask you, who the hell did the Tigers get back in that deal for Justin Verlander?
Oh, the main piece was Daz Cameron, Jake Rogers, the catcher who had a little bit of promise before he's I think out with Tommy John or something this year. But it was like the main piece was Daz Cameron. Yeah.
So And again, Dad's Cameron, a big name because his dad played baseball. But again, to the victor goes to the guys with the guts and they get the glory, right?
Yeah.
The Yankees didn't. I mean, they did little moves here and there. They're not the worst moves. I mean, you get Frankie Montas and you get a reliever like Lou Trevino who has some experience, even though we shit on him all the time on this podcast. But I always mention the peripherals are decent. It's just that he's not.
I mean, I really liked Trevino that year that Trinan, was like a potential Cy Young candidate. Like Trevino got slept on so much that year because Trevino was the one setting him up, and then Trevino just was bad for 3 years because he always had kind of command issues that everybody overlooked. Like we're like, oh, we're not going to look at that. Like no, we'll move that to the side.
But excuse me, the Yankees didn't want to trade their big pieces. They didn't want to trade Volpe. That's fine. Congratulations, another year of hoarding your prospects. Yay. That's going to get you places, right? Because as much as we shit on the San Diego Padres as well, not us in particular, because I love that trade with Juan Soto, which we're going to get to in a little bit, but people are shitting. You're giving away your future. Before the podcast, and I even posted about this, the Padres have been trying to build around their farm system for a while, and that did not work. Albeit they were building around very underwhelming veteran players like Eric Hosmer, Will Myers. But they still had their best in 2018. They had their best prospects up already. The Hunter Renfroes of the world, the Manuel Margos of the world. Remember, we talked about it.
Well, I'm just saying that the last time that the San Diego Padres traded all their prospects, it didn't work out for them either.
Okay, but it didn't work out for them either to keep all their fucking prospects. Listen, there's more than one way to build a team, right? There's more than one way to build a roster. Okay,
Padres should have traded Fernando Tatis as a prospect. Boom.
What was that?
I said the Padres should have traded Fernando Tatis as a prospect then.
Well, no. Here's the thing, though, because this is what the Yankees are doing right now. Because not every prospect is going to hit, but you got to be able to figure out which prospects do you foresee being on your team in the future, and which ones are going to be trade commodities. The Yankees made their choice. Which ones are the trade commodities? The Padres made their choice. They've been making their choices as to which players on their farm system was going to be their trade commodities. And every single trade that they made, a lot of these prospects didn't do anything for their new teams. We're still waiting for Luis Patiño to be a thing. Francisco Mejia's hurt again, and he wasn't that effective to begin with. Despite the fact that Mike Zunino was hurt for the entire year, Mejia didn't take that catching role to the next level.
He was actually doing pretty good, and then he got hurt first, and then Zunino went down. But he's back now. He's back now. So.
Oh, okay. So he's back. So he's gonna go in and get you a 730 ops again. Okay, congratulations. Yes,
I think that's being generous.
And then with the bat, and what's his downfall this whole time? He's not a very good catcher, or at least a terrible framer at the very least. Oh. So you just got to figure out. The Yankees figured that out, but I don't want to hear from Yankee fans. I don't want to hear from anyone. I don't want to hear from the Yankee brass that they feel short because they didn't have enough players on the big league level to get on that championship. They made their bed, and now they got to deal with it. They did not want to trade their big name prospect, their important hitting prospects. So now this is what we've got. I still say it's good enough to get you to October, but it better damn work for them, because this is another wasted year. You got Anthony Rizzo, Aaron Judge, who's gonna break the Roger Maris record for the most home runs by a Yankee soon.
You think he's gonna get there?
It's hard to tell, but I feel like he's on a good pace right now at 43 home runs. I know.
I just know in my 30-team league, I have both Aaron Judge and Paul Goldschmidt, and I am living up life right now.
Oh, so you got the two best players in the baseball.
And Jacob deGrom just came back off my IL. Trey Turner was acquired a month and a half ago.
But how's your pitching depth? That's what I want to know.
I have deGrom, Wheeler, Syndergaard, something the Mets couldn't do. Gossman, and I'm forgetting somebody.
So this is interesting. I'm seeing that Fangraphs has him projected to hit 15 more home runs. Doesn't matter which projection system you use. It's anywhere between 15 and 16 home runs. Pick a projection system, any projection system. You know what? It doesn't matter. So he has 43 home runs now, 15. That puts him at 58. That's pretty damn close, man. 58 home runs to finish the season is what he's projected to at this point. So
I definitely see high 50s. That's kind of where I'm sitting at as well. Because I feel like he's kind of slowed down. Like he had that torrid stretch of like 10 and 12 games or 12 and 14 games. Mm-hmm. And I was like, but we'll see.
All right, next trade. We got three-way trade with Orioles acquiring Seth Johnson and Chase McDermott. And this one's pretty funny. The Tampa Rays get Jose Siri, which really pissed off our guy Vince. He's like, how the hell do the Astros have all these low-name players that everybody wants, but here we have a damn good Miguel Andujar and some other guy I forgot what the other guy.
Wait, is he trying to say Miguel Andujar has more value than Jose Siri?
At the very least, he's saying that Andujar is crushing the ball in the minors.
No.
And then there's a second guy that he likes to mention in that whole spiel, and I can't remember his name. But what the hell is this Jose Siri do that Miguel Andujar
plays defense? Oh my God, Vince! He's actually valuable.
I think
Andujar is not worth shit. I don't care what people say. He's not worth a damn thing.
I think Vince would say that. Oh, and Esteban Florial, I guess.
And I'm gonna go on the show with him tonight, and I'm gonna be sure to give him a new one over that because that's ridiculous.
Just let him be sure to let him explain it because I don't want to put words in his mouth. But I think that's a lot of it is that he's doing good in AAA, and Esteban Florial is
only been in the minor leagues for a decade. I wish I was kidding, but I think we're approaching 10 years for Florial now.
Yeah, it's since 2015. He was in there as first year 17-year-old. So give him a chance, right? Hey, those 17-year-olds, man, they're the ones who break your heart. But Esteban Florial, so far at AAA, 14 home runs and 31 stolen bases. So there's some power speed combo, but it comes with the caveat that he will strike out 30% of the time.
A lot. I mean, just because Khalil Lee had a great year last year and was a former, top speedster prospect, I was the one telling Mets fans, Khalil Lee is not legit. He swings and misses far too much. He's not a major league hitter. Florial is the same way, and every time that they've called up Florial, it's been the same story.
And then the Astros get Trey Mancini and Jaden Murray. Mancini is already paying off dividends at this point. So, where do we start here in this trade? You know what? Seth Johnson and Chase McDermott, they're both two 23-year-old players. They were once Johnson from the Rays, McDermott from the Astros. Always got to love these three-way trades, right? Yeah. But let's start with Seth Johnson, who's currently a high A. 23 years old, so a little bit on the old side for high.
To me, the best player in the deal.
Really? Well, 13.67 K per nine, 3.67 walk per nine. With that, those are pretty decent numbers. What's the report looking like? Fastball, slider combination, curveball still a work in progress, changeup still a work in progress. Command could be a thing, but still at 30 out of 50 at 23 years old, 40 plus future value there. But you like him a lot, huh?
I think and especially coming out of Tampa, that this guy is going to do something. And I trust kind of where Baltimore's going with Mike Elias now. But I just thought it was so funny that Tampa kind of threw themselves in the middle of this deal with Baltimore apparently, I guess, not liking enough of what Houston had in their farm system. I still feel like Tampa somehow comes out the winner here, even though Jose Siri is, bleh as a hitter. He's got legit power. He's a tooled up player in the minors, but the offense hasn't translated at the major league level. I know he had that hot month last year when he first got called up and he had a couple of home runs, but the defense alone with Kevin Kiermaier out, you can kind of slide him into some sort of platoon, I guess, with Josh Lowe. I'm not sure exactly how that situation's going.
Oh, I don't know if they want Josh Lowe at this point and keeps getting balls hit off his head.
Yeah.
It's a joke. I know that Josh Lowe's pretty good.
Yeah. And actually, I guess Josh Lowe isn't on the roster. I thought I saw him on the lineup. I thought I saw him on the lineup.
No, he got optioned back to AAA after he got
I think that's always my problem is I see on the ticker on ESPN or I see an alert that says Lowe. And it ends up not being Lowe. It ends up being Brandon Lau.
Lau or Nathaniel Lowe or whatever.
He's been playing center field along with Roman, along with Roman Quinn. Quinn's been playing some right field as well.
Yeah, I got wrestling on my mind. I thought you were going to say Roman Reigns. What?
No.
Why is Roman Reigns on this podcast? Chase McDermott is the other guy. Throws right, 6'3", 197 pounder. Again, fastball, slider. Curveball is more refined than Seth Johnson. Changeup is still a work in progress. Command is nowhere near the upside of a Seth Johnson, 40 future value. And so far with the Astros, 19 games, 10 of them were starts. Has a 14.25 strikeout per nine, but a 5+ walk per nine. So control is a problem, as it was mentioned up on there. 30 out of 45 command there with the grade. So Chase McDermott. That's Chase with a Y, not an S. 20 again, another 23
a YC, not just there you go.
Yeah, YCE instead of an ACE, ASE. And then you mentioned Jose Siri already. I don't know if we need to do anything with him. Who's Jaden Murray is the other guy that the Astros got. And 25-year-old, he's from the Rays, starting pitcher. And while this thing loads up, here it is. It's loaded up. Right-hander, 6'1", 190, fastball, big time slider, 60 out of 60. Changeup is okay, not the best. And it's actually below adequate. Commando, 50 out of 60 and a 40+ future value.
I feel like he's a relief pitcher, honestly.
I don't know.
Just kind of looking at it. And I want to say, like, I saw somewhere somebody had posted his splits, and it's he's a much better versus righty guy than lefty. I'd have to double check, but
you know how it is with those guys, man. You got to give them a chance to fail as a starting pitcher to justify.
For pitcher. Sure. No, I get that, and that's usually how it goes. It's like the same thing with shortstop prospects. They will keep them at shortstop literally until they get to the major leagues, and then they prove that they can't play shortstop. Gleyber Torres. Hello.
Yeah,
because that way, if you move them, you can. The shortstop has inherently more value. So.
And not just that, but shortstop. Everybody asks why is Team X drafting shortstop? They already have 2 shortstops. Where are they going to play all these shortstops? And let's face it, shortstop players, they are the most versatile, the most athletic players on your team. They could be moved and shifted everywhere. That was a big deal with the Cubs when Gleyber Torres and Addison Russell won the team, and there was another guy that I forgot already. That's how old I am.
Javier Baez.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, Javier Baez. Well, where are you going to play all these shortstops? Where are they going to be played? You can't play all these shortstops. Well, then turns out Javier Baez can play anywhere that he damn well pleases. And Addison Russell was a really good fielding shortstop. And then Gleyber Torres looks like he's a natural at second base compared to shortstop. I'm not saying he's the best second baseman of all time, but he looks a lot more comfortable at second base than he did at shortstop. At least that's what the Yankee fans tell me. And so far, he's having not the greatest of seasons.
It's better than it was last year.
Nice bounce back year for him.
Yeah.
I noticed that Jaden Murray only played 1 game so far for the Rays at AAA. Was he hurt? Do you know anything about that?
Oh, Murray. I just had his stuff pulled up too. Was it 1 game?
Yeah, I see.
No. Well, he played in AA. 15 starts, 76 innings.
Okay. I thought so in AA, 15 game starts. The strikeout levels went down as a 25-year-old in
well,
AA.
yeah, I can't. I'm not going to even look at any of his per 9 or ERA stuff over 1 start in AAA. The AA kind of looks more indicative of what he probably is.
Because the low strikeout rate, but decent walk rate. So I guess he's working on his control there. But 25 at AA, I don't know, man. There's hope. And he's with the Astros now, so if anyone can fix things, it'd be them. Okay, so that's that trade. Tampa Bay acquires Jeremy Walker for, I love this name. The Giants get some guy named Ford Proctor. Get your Ford Proctor today.
Ford Proctor's like a cool prospect. The hit tool is a little suspect. He was batting .213 in AAA for Tampa before he left, but he was also walking 14% of the time. Striking out close to 30.
Does he still play catcher?
He's catcher, shortstop. He plays everywhere. Second base, shortstop, but mainly catcher and shortstop, which is like the weirdest combo you can see. It's like very Isaiah Kiner-Falefa-ish.
I was just about to mention that, but I see that this guy Ford Proctor strikes out a lot too. So, but
he also walks a lot. So yeah, I still think there's hope for him. Like in AA last year, he was 244, 381, 419. Which plays that play? I mean, if you're a backup, because the fact that he can play catcher and also third base, not third base, shortstop, second base, something like that, that's versatile to a team and a roster. And really, you just got to do like something offensively. If you can play all 3 positions, like that's a major league profile to me. Like it's not a good one, but it's a major league regular.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass. I'm not not digging this thing. Moving on to Jeremy Walker. Let's see, relief pitcher going to the Rays. So yeah, the Rays were busy trying to bolster that bullpen. 27-year-old, 6'5", 205-pounder. Fastball's good. Slider is okay. Curveball's work in progress, but still going to be okay. Changeup is not where it needs to be. The command 45 out of 45, but 35 plus future value. Let's see, what did he do in the minors? Anything of worth note? 28 game start.
Not very good.
Okay, so, well, again, if anybody could fix it, it's going to be the Rays, but it's a work in progress still, even at 27 years old. So.
I do see like the 390 BABIP, and San Francisco, the PCL, very hitter friendly. So, but I mean, really for like his entire career, it's just kind of, hey, if Tampa sees something, Tampa sees something.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we'll see in a couple of years. He's gonna just be that. He's gonna start out as the opener, as an opener for those bullpen games, and then the year after that, he's gonna be Drew Rasmussen or Shea McClanahan, right? That's what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, guaranteed. Emmanuel Valdez and Weiler Abreu, two 23-year-olds from the Houston Astros, going to the Boston Red Sox for Christian Vasquez, who apparently was not aware that he got traded. Yeah,
he was still taking a BP in the cage.
I saw that clip.
And then they pulled him from the cage, and he went and he talked with all his teammates, and then he was talking to the reporters outside the Red Sox dugout, and then like the guy from the Red Sox like pulled him and was like, "We got to go," because they were in Houston. That was it's like, I don't think Houston activated him until the next day, so he couldn't get to play against his team the same day. That would have been fun. Like the Moneyball scene. I don't want Rincon pitching against me tonight. Send him over.
Yuri Perez just got picked up by Steve Carey. Why does that name sound familiar?
That's the big 6'8", 6'9" starting pitching monster from the Marlins. Yeah, okay. He just had a bad outing, but he's crazy good for how big he is and how repeatable his motion is. Great changeup, great velo. I really like him.
Okay. Emmanuel Valdez, bats left, throws right, 5'9", 191-pounder, second baseman, can also play third base. Decent hit tool. Game power is also there. Raw power is, so both of them are at 50 grade, which is kind of surprising to see from a 5'9" guy. Fielding, though, is disappointing, 30 out of 35, but he does have a future value of 40. What did he do with the Houston Astros this year at AAA? 23 years old, 10 home runs. Didn't walk a lot, but 16.8 strikeout rate is not too shabby, and respectable triple slash line. What kind of a hitter is he? He is, where the hell did it go? There it is. So fly ball. He's been trying to lift the ball more this year, Sean. 40.5% fly ball rate. Anything else you got about Emmanuel Valdez?
Not much on Valdez. Weiler Abreu, the other player in the deal, had a near 20% walk rate with Houston's AA affiliate this year and had a near 400 on base.
So, that's right. 23-year-old lefty outfielder, 6 foot. The hit tool isn't there. The game power and the raw power is where the what's intriguing about him, I should say. 50 graded speed, so we might have a power speed combination. And yes, we do. I
think this is interesting because in 2021 he was 10 for 21 in stolen bases, which is very, very bad. And really his entire career was like that, and he was getting caught just as much as he actually stole bases. But in 2022 he is 23 for 24.
There you go.
There you go.
They taught him something.
Development.
And its strikeout rate has been hovering around a little bit over 25%, but he also, this season at the very least, he has combat that with a close to it is a 19% walk rate. So so this is prime Houston Astros player right here. So we'll see, but I'm excited for this guy. Weiler Abreu, remember that name, power speed combination, who is able to walk as much as he strikes out. And then, of course, we know who Christian Vasquez is, who he's a new starter, right? No more Martin Maldonado as a starter.
I don't know how they've been playing that out. I would assume so, but they have a thing with Martin Maldonado.
Yeah, it's like every time you think he's gone, he comes right back and with a vengeance.
And it was like, right now Roster Resource has Vasquez on the bench. But like, I saw a tweet about Sandy Leon, who was also moved at this deadline, and it was from like Chris Sale talking about him. And he was like, I never had to look at a scouting report. He said, all I had to do was worry about looking at Sandy behind the plate. He'd put down what pitch I needed to throw. And he said, and I trusted him completely, that Sandy was so prepared, knowing the other hitters and their weaknesses, their strengths, whatever, that all he had to focus on was pitching. And it kind of made me think that this is maybe why guys like Martin Maldonado and Austin Hedges, like these guys were great defensively, like arm wise and framing wise earlier in their careers, but now they're getting a little bit worse, but they still get jobs. And I think that this is why. So like it kind of explains the whole, oh, this team like has a terrible catcher. Like, why do they keep playing them? Because it's working.
Yeah.
And I mean, you go look at all the success Houston had. And I mean, you had Brian McCann, who wasn't even really catching at that point. He was more of just the DH, but Martin Maldonado was still there. And I don't know. I feel like everyone's like, oh, we need more offensive from our catcher position. If you have offense everywhere else, you can live with a Martin Maldonado. I mean, the Astros have one of the best records in baseball, and they've had Maldonado behind the plate for basically all of it.
And then we talk at the opposite side of the spectrum with Salvador Perez, who has now become a designated hitter. And why aren't the Royals pitchers developing fast enough? Do we blame Salvador Perez for that? I guess not, because MJ Melendez. Well, no, not even Melendez anymore, because now he's playing all over the place.
Right, he's been playing right field.
But what has he done to improve the rookie? We're expecting a rookie to fix all these problems, right? But what has he done as a rookie to fix the Royals' rotation problems? So
Perez has actually started at catcher 5 out of the last 6 days.
Okay, that sounds about right, because I saw Melendez play right field. I'm like, damn, this guy plays everywhere too.
He's been playing a lot of outfield.
So Angel has been busy on the chat. Well, first of all, I gotta go. Melvin saying we're talking about Melendez. Melvin is saying Melendez is gonna be done catching next year.
You mean Perez?
I have to assume it's Perez, but maybe he expects. Well, I don't know, Melvin. Maybe he thinks Perez is gonna go back to catching, and that this DH thing is not working out for him, even though the numbers show that Perez's catching isn't working out for him either. All right. Angel has some points that he wants to make. He wants to point out that Nestor Cortez, we talked about him earlier in the podcast, has been carrying his fantasy team all season long. Melvin corrected himself. It is Perez. He's done catching for next year.
We'll see.
Salvador Perez, first baseman, right? Or no,
they have Nick Prado. They got to play Nick Prado at first.
And Vinny Pasquantino,
at DH. I'm telling you, like Perez is gonna like. He doesn't need to be catching, but he's gonna stay catching, and it's gonna piss me off.
Salvador Perez, future third baseman. Bobby Witt goes back to shortstop. Mondesi plays center field. We got to do this because Salvador Perez is so damn important to this team. While he
where else can we get home runs in a sub 300 on base? Sign Javi Baez.
Trade for Javi Baez. Trade Mondesi for Javier Baez right now. Straight up. Straight up. All right, I got a question, Felipe. You mentioned that this is not 2004 anymore, and the starting pitcher doesn't have to go deep anymore in games because bullpens are more specialized, and they're just damn better. They throw harder. They throw higher velocity. And Sean mentions it all the time. Some of them don't even throw fastballs. They just throw a bunch of sliders and curveballs and breaking pitches and changeups. So you're getting all types of things from these guys now. Given that, one of Moneyball theories is that you want to get the starting pitcher on the high pitch count early so you can get to the bullpen. Does that theory still in effect, since Felipe mentioned something important about modern baseball? And that's the way the Cubs won too in 2016, being the most patient team and drawing a lot of walks. No. Of course, that comes with a lot of strikeouts as well. That was their thing, was we're going to wear out these starting pitchers to get to the bullpen because we have better luck against what's supposed to be, Sean, inferior pitching. Well, a year before 2016, the Royals proved that you don't need to have the dominant starting pitching. It just has to be good enough, and then you get to the bullpen, and then the bullpen shuts it down for you. So with that being said, I guess he's questioning, do we still want these high pitch counts to come as a hitter? Do we still want these high pitch counts from the starting pitchers? And
I mean, and that's something that we're seeing from like the Mets all year too, as well as, look at the bats they brought in both before the season and at the deadline. They're guys that don't chase and don't whiff. I mean, they're well above league average. And they just work these crazy long at bats. I mean, Nimmo's always been that way. McNeil, when he's not swinging first pitch, which he does 60% of the time, McNeil can work a 7-8 pitch at bat. But then you bring in these guys, and it's not even just for like the first game. Be like, oh, we got into the bullpen, good. if you're looking at a 3-4 game series and you make the bullpen work, you're, like the A team bullpen, because a lot of these teams, they have like the 4 guys they love and the 4 guys that they have to use.
Yeah.
If you can get to that team that they have to use in the second or third game, and you're making them pitch 5-6 innings a series of guys that they don't want pitching in that's a win. So you still got to get to the bullpen, because not everyone's bullpen is full of aces, and normally those aces can't go 3 days in a row. So you get them off the board as quick as you can and move from there.
And it's not just that, but you also want to there's a thing about a starting pitcher seeing the lineup for a second, third, or fourth time.
Yeah.
And the more you wear out these starting pitchers, the more pitches you get to see, and the more it becomes better for the hitting lineup and more taxing for the starting pitcher that's out there. Despite the fact that, this guy is going to pitch 50 innings in he's going to throw 50 pitches in 2 innings, so he's going to be given the hook really soon. So we got to get what we can right now before it's too late, before you get to that bullpen guy. And even then, like Sean mentioned, in game 3 of a 3-game or a 4-game series, 3-game series, whatever the case may be, that bullpen guy just threw 20 pitches the day before. His stuff's not going to be as sharp. We've seen guys, the bullpen guys, yes, they're dominant, but they're not invincible either. They can be had, and they can have off nights because they're not well rested. So I guess in that respect, more pitches is always good. Unfortunately, it does as many as, I got to say Vince, because Vince is the one who yells the loudest about this. And I have to agree, it does come with a more boring television presentation, but modern baseball is smart baseball at this, and when it comes to that. Josh Lowe, Angel says, Josh Lowe has been abysmal. He got option back finally. Yes, he did. So we talked about that. Melvin, he's the big international baseball fan. MJ Melendez has been confirmed that he will be in the World Baseball Classic.
He has declared.
And I declare that I will play for what's that, Team Puerto Rico, or is that or is that Cuba? I can't tell. No, it has to be Puerto Rico, right? That's Puerto
Rico. Yeah, that's Puerto Rico.
Melvin,
little emoji flag.
Melvin, the problem is that these emoji flags kind of look the same. I think the Texas flag looks exactly like the Chile flag. And anyway, to talk about modern baseball and what do we do with pitchers? Do we want them to throw more pitches? Melvin has this to say: it's evolution, happens. I'm for whatever makes the game better. Yeah, it makes the game better, but again, it may not be the best television presentation, especially if that's the prerogative that the brass up in MLB HQ want to do. Mel, statistics are so strong about the advantage switching to the hitter dramatically. A third time through that, it should be conventional wisdom by now. So but not everybody, listens to this podcast or looks at Fangraphs all day like we do, or like like some of our listeners do. I know Melvin is a guy who's like all over it, and not just. And the thing about Melvin is that he also has this international perspective too. So he could probably tell us what is going on in Japan and why whatever they're doing, they're not doing the same thing that we're doing here in the States. I can imagine. So Emmanuel Rivera going to the Diamondbacks for Luke Weaver. We know who Luke Weaver is.
It's kind of a boring deal. I mean, Luke Weaver's been in Arizona forever. Emmanuel Rivera. Kansas City had too many of those third baseman, second baseman types. So Rivera's on the move.
And is there anything appealing about him? Not really. So let's go. No, you're right. Let's move on. Some power, some raw power.
Literally, like the next 3-4 trades are just kind of meh.
Yeah. Chris Zanglin going to Robbie Grossman. We know who Robbie Grossman is. He provides depth. Robbie Grossman provides depth for the Atlanta Braves. Chris Anglin is a 20-year-old pitcher, left-handed, 5'11", 175-pounder. No report cards over at Fangraphs. What did he do at high A for the Braves? He pitched 12 games, 7 of them in starts. 10 K per 9, but a 5 walk per 9.
But he's a lefty, so every team's gonna think that I can fix this one.
Yeah, so that means he's gonna pitch forever. Then he's gonna 10 years from now, he's still gonna be a 10-year veteran. Pirates acquired Johan Oviedo and Malcolm Nunez from the Cardinals. Cardinals get Jose Quintana and Chris Stratton. Chris Stratton, we know, is the big burly relief pitcher who. The thing about Chris Stratton is that he had major issues with Felipe Vasquez back when Vasquez was still on the team, right? I think they almost got
Stratton did?
I think Chris Stratton was that guy.
I didn't think Stratton was in the big leagues then.
Yes, he was.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, you can double check my work if you want.
Yeah, 2016. Oh, well, he was in San Francisco, and then I guess he came to Pittsburgh in 2019. I think Vasquez was gone by then.
Mm,
No, I mean, look,
then who
you
am I
keep going.
thinking
I'll
of?
look. I'll look.
Yeah,
I'll look.
yeah. There was a. Yeah, tell me who. What? Okay,
Okay,
so
his last year was 2019. So yeah, they probably overlapped that 1 year.
yeah, because Chris Stratton was a decent prospect for the Giants. He was supposed to be a starting pitcher. That next line
Yeah,
of Madison Bumgarner, Matt Cain, Tim Lincecum, and Chris Stratton.
yeah.
But there was issues between the two. They were always getting to fights. Vasquez proved to be a diva, and Stratton proved to be a red ass.
I would
And
say Vasquez proved to be a whole lot more than a diva too.
and it proved that Chris Stratton was right.
Was right. His radar was going off.
Yeah, Chris Stratton, he's become two-faced, right? When we were kids, we don't understand what Chris Stratton's motives are, but as adults, we now get it. We understand what Chris Stratton is. He was always the hero that we needed, but not the one that we deserved. Like, okay, so oh boy, Johan Oviedo, where the fuck is this guy? I hate Fangraphs for doing this.
Big right-handed pitcher. He was kind of a failed prospect on their end.
Yeah, I remember him. I just don't know if
he had really good stuff. This is a very Cardinals deal. I mean, Quintana pitched to contact, having a good year, older, and it's good for St. Louis. They kind of get rid of Oviedo, who had no place, and Malcolm Nunez, who basically just got leapfrogged by 1.5 miles by Jordan Walker. So he also had no real place in the organization at third base. So yeah, I like this trade for the Cardinals. It filled spots without really compromising any sort of depth.
Nunez, 21-year-old, the hit tool is still a work in progress. Power is still a work in progress. Raw potential power is still there, but no speed, no fielding, 40 future value, 17 home runs. That's not too bad, right? 208 ISO power. 13% walk rate, 20% strikeout rate. Nice little player there. Is he going to be a thing? It remains to be seen. But he's on the right team with the Pirates.
If anything, he play first base. Keep Brian Hayes there. So.
Designated hitter, man. This might be the Pirates'
DH,
future designated hitter. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. And then we talked about the other guys. Jake Odorizzi going to the Braves. And Will Smith getting jiggy with it. I think he's back with the Astros. Is that what it is?
He was never with the Astros, was he?
I think I'm thinking about Will Harris.
Maybe. Yeah. Will Smith. I thought this trade was more of just kind of like a salary swap type deal. The Astros really haven't had a lefty in their bullpen all year. They did not need Jake Odorizzi. They'd been running that 6-man rotation when he was there. So just a nice little swap. Saves Atlanta some money on the Will Smith side. So.
All right, moving on. Orioles get Cade. Oh my God, that's a lot of players. Cade Povich, Yanier Cano, Juan Nunez, Juan Rojas for Jorge Lopez. Jorge Lopez going to the Twins. Lopez was the correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Lopez started his career with the Royals.
Failed starter, and then added about 3 miles an hour on his fastball sinker when he went to the bullpen as a relief pitcher, and was having he was an all-star this year. But had a 6 ERA coming into the year. Has I think another 2 years of control. A lot of people thought that the Orioles got robbed here. I think they made out pretty well.
I mean, you got 4 lottery tickets for an okay relief pitcher.
I really like Jorge Lopez, and I can admit he's having a great year. But you had to sell high here. You had to sell high because you can't risk him going into next year and having a 5.5, 4.5 ERA, and then you get nothing.
Yeah. So, it's a nice deal for the Orioles. I mean, let's get to it then. Cade Povich is the first thing that shows up. Lefty, 6'3", 185. No fastball. Curveball is where it's at with him. That's going to be his bread and butter. Changeup is still a high upside pitch, but still a work in progress. 35 out of 60 command. So yeah, he's still working on that future value of 40. And with the Twins, 16 games start, 12.24 K per 9, 2.96 walk per 9. ERA is high, but the peripherals say he's not that bad. So, and how's his ground ball rates? 45.5%. I'm sorry, 44.3%. So that's a nice little pitching prospect that the Twins that the Orioles acquired there.
Yeah.
22-year-old high A ball. Anything else you want to add about him before we move on?
The other 3, Povich is the only one that kind of sees himself in any top 30, whether it's MLB, Baseball Americas, or Fangraphs. The other 3, all not ranked. So it's like Minnesota, not Minnesota. I feel like Baltimore like saw them like because I think they're really young too. I think they're not even stateside. So it's
Well,
like, and I really trust Baltimore, like kind of what they've done so far since Michael Elias has come in. That like, what do they know about these guys that obviously nobody knows about? Because like they didn't just pick these guys' names out of a hat. Like that.
no.
That's not what it was.
Oh no, this is
And
calculated, man. I mean,
yeah.
the only one that's the old guy is 28 years old, and Yanier Cano, and he was pitching for the Twins. Actually, he pitched 10 games for the Twins, so and very disastrous results. But in AAA, he did have a decent strikeout per nine
Yeah.
as a bullpen arm. But it's nothing to brag about as a bullpen person. But hey, future bullpen relief pitcher for the Orioles. There.
So yeah, Juan Nunez still in the complex, and
21 years old.
Juan Rojas. That's going to be confusing.
Well, Juan
also,
Rojas is 18 years old, lefty. So that, I mean,
yeah, they're both still in the complex league. So
they're just relative babies here. But yeah, the work's in progress. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, all of these guys are pitchers, right? All four of them.
Yep.
Orioles.
I think they did. A lot of people were like, that return is light for what Jorge Lopez is doing. And I said I really like that deal for them.
No, this is really damn good for them, man. You got two lottery tickets. K. Povich might be a thing, and Yanier Cano will solidify your bullpen in the future. So things are looking up for them. You know what it is? They created a little step for the big hole they dug themselves in. So they got a step. And Jorge Lopez, who cares? It's Jorge Lopez. The Blue Jays acquired Zach Pop and Anthony Bass, and a player to be named later for Jordan Groshans, shortstop.
Former top prospect, former third base top prospect.
That's right.
Who has lost all power, what little power he had. He was supposed to develop into it, never did. But he's got like a pretty interesting little like solid plate approach, walks a lot, doesn't strike out a lot, good bat the ball skills. But if he's going to play shortstop, that is somewhat valuable as long as he's a good defender. But if he's at third base, then no. So I think his profile, he's got to be a plus defender at shortstop or second base to be even a major league regular. And those positions are kind of blocked right now in Miami. So, oh well.
Yeah. And again, my Chrome isn't working at this point. Was the Yankees got a trade in, right?
Yes. So the guys I went back, of course, were Pop and Bass. Don't want to. The next one was Gallo for Clayton Beeter. Gallo goes to the Dodgers. Beeter, 15th ranked prospect from the Dodgers to the Yankees. I believe no, he's a righty. I feel like there are a lot of like lefty minor leaguers traded, but not many lefty major leaguers. It was a very weird thing that I noticed. But Double A, high strikeouts, high walks. So yeah, minor leaguer that strikes out a bunch, but also walks a bunch.
Okay. And then the next trade, Logan O'Hop. Oh wow,
this one was a weird. This one came out of nowhere. Like
it did,
because it's like everyone was like Angels and Phillies are talking, and everyone's like it's Syndergaard, and they ended up getting Syndergaard too, but I love the fact that like this deal was done as two separate deals. Like, did they make one and like just call them back later and be like, hey, what about this? Because I want to say the Syndergaard one broke first, then this trade. I can't remember. I was at work for the deadline, but. Were you surprised to see the Angels trade Brandon Marsh?
I kind of was, yeah, because I mean, I don't think Brandon Marsh is anybody special. I don't think he's, whatever. He's just a guy. He's just a guy. I mean, I know he's 24 years old, under team control. And got off to a really good start, but I thought he looked kind of exposed as the months went on. And that's been his downfall. So I was actually
it was even that way in AAA. I was more shocked that the Phillies, with one of the weaker farm systems in baseball, made itself even weaker to acquire. And I know the Phillies are going for that one of those wild card spots. I know they feel like if they can get into a wild card series, they can win it because of Wheeler and Nola. But And I know they know their defense sucks, so they had to upgrade. And Brandon Marsh is a verifiable upgrade to Odubel Herrera. but they traded, and I guess because Real Muto's around that they don't need O'Hop, but O'Hop was looking nice.
No,
And
he was.
to trade O'Hop for a guy who just seems as flawed as Brandon Marsh.
Well, right now Brandon Marsh is listed as a part of a platoon there, so he's not even going to play every day. But
You know
like
who they
you
have
said,
him in with, like Veerling?
or maybe even Edmundo Sosa if he even.
I
plays
forgot.
some
Yeah, I forgot they had him in this. So
who else is there? No, that's it. And then, but yeah, Logan O'Hop though. I mean, people were mad. Like I know Melvin and we talked about it, and he's like, how the hell did the Cubs not be able to pull off this move? Why can't we get Logan O'Hop? And let's chill with that. All right. First of all, it's a catcher. Catchers are even worse than pitchers in terms of volatility. Yeah. We've seen it time and time again here. But yeah, the other thing about it is it's the Phillies. Yeah. So the Phillies' number one prospect according to Fangraphs could be someone else's like number 10, number 11, right? Because like you mentioned, it's a dwindling farm system. The last thing about O'Hop, 23rd round pick, 23rd round. And I know that
he had just eked into a lot of top 100s this year. O'Hop had, but I was shocked to hear.
I get it.
I don't know. It was just such a weird move. Like I'm glad the Phillies didn't do anything stupid and trade like Painter or McAbell, but I thought this was a weird deal. I don't think there's anyone on the Cubs active roster that the Phillies would have wanted so bad as to trade O'Hop for.
Listen, man, it's the Phillies, man. This is where prospects go and die, man. I mean, Alec Bohm is finally coming onto his own little by little, but he still doesn't hit for consistent power. Bryson Stott is all over the place. He's up one week, he's down the next week. He's all over the place as well. And that doesn't even include I better calm myself down because the other trade that they made was Noah Syndergaard and for Mickey Moniak. Mickey Moniak was a former number one prospect?
Number one overall. Yep.
So
1-1.
Let's chill with that. We should have had Logan O'Hop.
Well, my issue is like Moniak and Marsh. Like, I feel like Moniak is just Marsh with less power. So why did we make this deal to begin with?
It's a real sad thing that's happening. You know, the big splash was Bryce Harper, right? And now, but because the big splash was Bryce Harper, and then you couple that with Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola. Yeah, this is worse than the Padres. At least the Padres, they trade all their prospects, but you know damn well that they're just going to go back and they're going to work double hard and scout better. And they're going to be, replacing these prospects that they traded away for Juan Soto. They're going to replace them within a year and a half. The Phillies are not going to do that. The Phillies are always going to perpetually not going to have the know-how to produce these prospects. They got lucky with this Logan O'Hop guy. Listen, power is there. Wonderful batting eye. There's a reason, though. I think there's a reason why he was a 23rd round pick overall. Let's not get too excited. It's a catching prospect. We know that it is like 60% chance that he's not going to pan out because that's what catchers do. So
that's what catchers do.
It's a decent trade. No, I'm sorry. A good get for the Angels, and then they deserve each other. The Angels and the Phillies. The Phillies are everything the Angels wish they were. Right? I wish we can have a bad farm system and get away with it. But this just goes to show you Bryce Harper is more important than Mike Trout. There I said it.
Ooh, okay, so you see what the next trade is. And we're already like running so over, and we're just now getting to the big one. But who cares?
We have a lot more trades to go. So, and then I keep getting badgered to hurry the fuck up and finish. So sorry for the swing, but this has been a very emotional episode. But here we go. Here's the big one. The Washington Nationals acquire Mackenzie Gore, C.J. Abrams, Robert Hassel III, James Wood, not to be confused with James Woods, Jarlin Susana, and Luke Voigt, instead of Eric Hosmer, Luke Voigt, and the Padres get Juan Soto and Josh Bell. I mean,
I had a feeling that Josh Bell is either going to be included in the Juan Soto deal to like sweeten and really like confirm that you get the prospects you want, or he was just going to go right after Juan Soto to whoever lost the Soto sweepstakes. But alas, they go together.
I love this trade for the Padres, man.
I love this. I love this trade for the Nationals because if you are going to trade Juan Soto, you offered it. Obviously, it was in terms of years and money, not what Juan Soto is worth. In terms of total money, maybe, probably a little bit more. But that was not like everyone's like, oh, that wasn't a fair offer to Juan Soto. Like okay, in terms of AAV, Bryce Harper didn't get what we thought he was going to get in terms of AAV.
Right.
He took total money.
He took total money, yeah.
And
so did Machado, I guess, to a certain extent, and Tatis.
Yeah. And so, but this deal, Washington, I think it's a great deal for them. I would have liked them if they could have gotten both Gore and Morejon, but I think the Padres were not going to budge on those two plus Harlan Susana or whatever his name is. But the fact that they got Abrams, Hassel, and Wood, that just seems like a coup. These were guys that were all top 10 prospects and number one for going back like the last 3 years, because it was Gore and then it was Abrams and then it's Hassel once Abrams officially graduates.
Well, here it is, man. It's a great grab. You had to get a big, sizable return. You have to. Juan Soto is such a big name, historical, once in a lifetime player. I mean, I've shared all the statistics that prove that Juan Soto is a once in a lifetime player.
Yes.
And well, then you go back. He's 23 years old with a wonderful batting eye. He looks like he's a 10-year veteran. Well, is he really 26? And then you get to that whole thing. But it doesn't matter, right? Because he's been very productive. But the fact of the matter is, the reality check is not all of these guys are going to pan out. Not a single one of these guys is going to turn into Juan Soto. There's just no way.
None of them will turn into Juan Soto. James Wood could turn into, the comp everyone keeps throwing around about James Wood is Willie McCovey in terms of just how big.
Come on.
You could have one of these guys will be a great power hitter. CJ Abrams could be a great, contact speed guy, steal 50 bases. Robert Hassel could be, yeah.
How I love Robert Hassel.
Robert Hassel could be Christian Yelich before he discovered power, but it's like none of these guys will be Juan Soto, and I almost feel bad for the players themselves having to come into the organization with kind of it's a cloud over your head, if I don't perform up to Juan Soto's level,
you're a failure.
I think that's going to be a tough thing mentally. And if any of those guys can overcome that and just play baseball, I think they'll be good. And I think getting Gore was huge because that rotation is a goddamn mess.
Well, so is Mackenzie Gore. He's also a mess, but it's more about the Padres just having too many pitchers on that staff and not knowing what to do with Gore. But listen, man, we've seen these big quantity prospect trades before. All right, if one of them pans out, that's a success. The problem is the one guy panning out will never equal Juan Soto. If three of these guys, you'll be lucky if three of these guys pan out and they even come remotely close to Juan Soto as he goes onto the Hall of Fame, right?
Because basically you're asking these guys to, while they're all on the same team. So I think the three that can all play together most likely will be Hassel, Abrams, and Gore. So those guys have to equate to what? 7 wins a year? So that's you get 2 from Abrams, 2 from Hassel, and 3 from Gore. But even then, that's 3 guys just to do what Juan Soto was doing by himself.
And 2 of these guys are teenagers, so they're you're not going to see these guys since 4 or 5 years from now, and who knows what they'll turn into. Really quick, but yeah, we've seen the White Sox do this where everybody's bragging. Oh man, did you see the haul we got for Chris Sale? We got Yohan Moncada, Michael Kopech. Moncada has gone down. Kopech's okay. Kopech's okay. He was gone for a while. A long time. This is the first full season for him, and he's still it's a work in progress, even though he's 27 years old at this point. I think he's in his mid-20s already, and we're treating him like a 22-year-old prospect, like some of these guys that we're mentioning here. The other one was man, did you see we pulled one over on Mike Rizzo. We gave away Adam Eaton, and we got 3 really good starting pitchers. Okay, well, Dane Dunning's not with Texas. Reynaldo Lopez, not a single White Sox fan likes that kid anymore. And Lucas Giolito is the most enigmatic pitcher.
I completely forgot about that deal.
Oh, as a White Sox fan, you never forget.
I remember Giolito and Reynaldo being Nationals. I forgot Dunning was. But I forgot who the trade was made for, and it was Adam. Oh my!
Yeah, well, that's one of those things where
I forgot. I remember that was such a big thing at the time.
You know what though? Adam Eaton got them a world championship, bro. That's all that matters.
And that's the thing with the Nationals that I feel like nobody can really at this point Okay, yeah, they traded Juan Soto. Juan Soto got them their ring. Trey Turner got them their ring. Max Scherzer got them their ring. Okay.
Steven Strasburg, don't forget him now.
Yeah, well, that was the mistake. They should have traded Strasburg. Well, actually, they couldn't because he was.
Well, you know what? Looking, I wanted to point this out. Looking back, maybe the reason that Rizzo gave Strasburg all that money was because he knew that there was no way in hell he was going to be able to sign Juan
Anybody
Soto.
Else? Yeah.
Or Juan Soto, more importantly, or Anthony Rendon. Good point. And especially so maybe the Strasburg extension was relatively cheap compared to everybody else. But go ahead and finish your thought there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just so like, okay, they got the ring, and the guys that were a part of that core were not going to stay.
Yeah.
So they had to rebuild, and they went about doing that. And I'd rather a team, even if it doesn't work out 100% of the time, I'd rather a team when they trade like these huge pieces, trade for guys that are going to help you like soon. Like don't punt it down the road and acquire, some 18-year-old prospect. Like, and then when they traded Trey and Max last year and they got back Keibert Ruiz and Josiah Gray, boom, those guys are in the majors. They're
ready to go.
Yeah.
Really quick, James Wood, 6'7", 240-pound, 19-year-old.
He's massive. He's actually.
Where's his birth certificate? I want to see it.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you. I need to go to the Hall of Records. Go ahead.
But yeah, the fact I really like James Woods last year when he was on the complex, he was doing awesome, and then everyone was like, yeah, and so I was really high on him, and he started the year in the complex, I believe, or I can't remember what exactly it was, but started striking out a bunch, and then this year 15% walk rate. I mean, it is still only a ball. It is only a ball. I try not to get too hyped over these guys.
But the thing that we got to look at, Sean, is he's 19 years old and he's already made these massive corrections. So that's not only speaks that the fact that he's the first thing you got to talk about is his physical attributes, but the second thing is there's a maturity level there. 17.8 strikeout per rate compared to last year where he was at 36%. That's massive, and he's still productive, because you know what happens, Sean? A lot of these guys who cut back in the strikeouts, all of a sudden they don't know how to hit home runs anymore.
Yeah.
The other thing about James Wood, before you go on here, 10 home runs, 15 stolen bases with the Padres this year. That's insane. This guy's basically a faster version of Aaron Judge, maybe?
Could be. And he's left-handed.
That means you're
not gonna like him.
Oh, never mind. Fail. So the other teenager was Harlan Susana, 18 years old, right-hander. Another big mother. 6'6", 235. I want to see his birth certificate. I mean, as you know, Sean, my kid, 99 percentile in height for 2-year-olds. You know that, right?
Oh.
So that means Harlan Susana must have been 120 percentile in heights when he was 2 years old. Anyway, so far for the Padres, let me get to his grades. 70 fastball. Did I get to the grades for James Wood? Does it matter?
No, it doesn't really matter. He's going to be probably really good.
All right.
Maybe.
Put guarantees on all these guys. But no, it's on a 65 out of 70 fastball grade. So check that out. 65 out of 70 as an 18-year-old. That's insane. 50 out of 60 slider. The changeup, it needs to work on. The command is also a work in progress. 40 plus future value. And as always, Sean, we got to say those future values are not stagnant. They can change from year to year. Mm-hmm. And then the complex down there in San Diego, 29 innings pitched, all 7 starts, 8 games. So 1 bullpen game for him. 13.5 K per 9, 3.38 walk per 9. So yeah, it looks really good for the Nationals so far.
He was a guy that apparently the Nationals would not budge. Mm-hmm. Like he was, we're not making the deal unless you guys throw him in with everybody else. And I'm like, I always thought that was funny when it comes to trades like this that are like so massive. And then you say, oh, if you don't give me that last piece, we're not doing any of it.
We will kill you.
And then at that point, it kind of, puts the onus back on the other team. Like, okay, whatever. Like, there you go. But,
and then the last guy, Robert Hassel III, we talked about exclusively about him in a different episode of this year so far. He was one of my guys from the May prospect show, I believe. And you mentioned it. Yeah, he reminds me. He's the next line of my infatuation with Christian Yelich. So it's Christian Yelich, Jock Peterson, Josh Lowe. There was a guy before Josh Lowe, and I can't remember his name. But yeah, these outfielders that I fall in love with. Like, yeah, he's gonna be the next Christian Yelich.
And it's funny, just like Christian Yelich, in the minors, he's hit the ball on the ground way too much. But it's one of those like sweet swinging, like, and it's like he almost places the ball, kind of like how Christian Yelich could easily go opposite field. And Hassel's the same way. As long as he can avoid, I mean, because in San Diego this year, he had a ground ball percentage over 53, slightly over 53%. It's just one of those swings where you know he's going to hit, but where's the power going to end up? And the Marlins kind of gave up on Yelich's power. And Yelich goes, and whether Yelich was stealing signs, cheating, whatever,
or just simply going to a better ballpark.
Yeah, or going to a better ballpark. I mean, granted, there was a pretty dynamic shift between him and Miami and him and Milwaukee in terms of the batted ball as well, and his profile for that. But yeah, Hassel, I knew you were going to say, like, because I feel like Yelich is the easiest comp for him. Just the sweet swing, kind of just he knows how to hit.
He's part of that lineage, man. I'm convinced. The other guy before Hassel and Josh Lowe, Jared Kalenic.
Yeah.
So there it is. So it goes Yelich, Peterson. I forgot. Jared Kalenic, Josh Lowe, and now Robert Hassel the third.
See, Josh Lowe, like I don't think I could put in that because Josh Lowe and Jock, I always felt like we're going to strike out a bunch seeing their swings.
But they were promising, especially Jock.
Oh yeah, they were
very promising.
But I think Yelich and Hassel are more of like that contact over power, while Lowe and Jock were more power over hit.
All right, let me see. I gotta get going soon. Let me see how many trades I can do. So if there's a question I have, I'll just ask you. But the next trade, Mets get Darren Ruff. So nice little right-handed bat off the bench, or even as a platoon. JD Davis is gone. Oh my God, going to the Giants.
He's already hit 2 home runs. He had a monster shot in Oakland last night. And I'll say this: the Mets overpaid in quantity on this deal, but they didn't overpay in quality. They have been said multiple times they weren't going to trade really the top 3 or really the top 5, and the arms that are outside the top 5 are guys like Matt Allen, Calvin Ziegler, guys that they really like.
Yeah,
I think that was the deal holding up David Robertson to the Mets. I think the Cubs wanted Allen or Ziegler or Dominic Hamill, and that wasn't going to happen. But so far, Darren Ruff, Daniel Vogelbach, and Tyler Naquin, the Mets' 3 trade deadline acquisitions, have combined for 22 hits, 4 home runs, 4 doubles, a triple, 9 walks, 14 strikeouts, 13 RBIs. That all comes out to a 192 WRC plus, when both Dominic Smith and JD Davis combined for a WRC plus of around like 70, 80 something. Wow. So Mets, not a flashy deadline, especially with this deal, but Darren Ruff crushes lefties.
That's a good deal, man.
Yeah. When you combine Vogelbach and Ruff, you basically get a better JD Martinez, especially this year. JD Martinez has been one of the worst players in baseball the last 2 months. Mets fans were clamoring for JD Martinez. And I'm like, guys, Ruff plus Vogelbach is like so much better than JD Martinez. Like especially if it's just going to be DH. Like these guys, like Ruff can play first base, a little bit of the outfield. Vogelbach is just going to be first base DH. But so far, good returns on the Mets deal, including Darren Ruff.
And then Nick Zwack and
I really like I like Zwack, but you know these are the guys that got to go.
Carson Seymour, Thomas Chapuki is the other guy, along with Robert Hassel that we mentioned in our prospect show in May. Which Sean, we're due for another one, man. We gotta do another one
coming up.
Philadelphia gets David Robertson for Ben Brown. The Cubs get Ben Brown. Another adds more depth to the pitching. I think he has a little bit better numbers than Hayden Wesneski in terms of the strike. You know how I like it, man. Big strikeouts, low walks. I like that.
Yeah, so, I mean, the thing here was everyone's like, oh, Ben Brown was ranked 26th. How Mets fans mainly? How could the Mets not beat the Phillies' 26th prospect? And I'm like, do you guys really think that the organizations are out here making decisions and putting values on players based on what MLB says they're ranked at? God, no. Ben Brown is 6'6". He was the, I think, 5th or 6th ranked prospect in the Phillies organization by Baseball America. He's been doing this a little bit longer and a little bit better than MLB.
He's 25 now, and I believe this is the Cubs now. He's 25th now. That's how weak the Phillies farm system was.
Yeah, in Philly with the Phillies, he was like 25, 26. Okay. But and then he was 6th in Baseball America but he's 6'6", throws like 95, 97, just like sits there. Like it's not, he doesn't ramp it up to 97. He just sits there. So obviously, anytime you have something like that, he's also the walks have come under control. I think this was a great trade for the Cubs. Everyone, a good get for a rental. I mean, to get a pitcher like that, that's a good get.
I agree there. Victor Acosta, shortstop, going to the Reds from the Padres. Oh no, the Padres trading another prospect. Oh, what are we gonna do about Victor Acosta?
And of course, Brandon Drury in his first game as a Padre, grand slam Diego.
I'm telling you, man. I mean, 18-year-old though, Victor Acosta going to the Reds. So now he's there with Noel Marte, and who's the other guy that they got from the Mariners? The shortstop.
Noel Marte. Edwin Arroyo.
Thank you. So now you got Victor Acosta
as well as Ellie De La Cruz.
Oh, nice. What are we gonna do with all these shortstops? Oh my God, what are we gonna do? Well, some of them are gonna play third base, some of them are gonna play second base, center field, and one of them is gonna get traded for a key veteran. Oh, by the way, Ben Brown, fastball slider, fastball curveball, and nothing else. So there's another reason why he was rated so low, despite getting off to a good start this year.
Well, it's funny because I was looking at Tyler McGill's Fangraphs page and prospect report. They only had him as fastball slider too, and he has
curveball. I just want to point that out. Curveball.
Oh yeah, well yeah, but they only had McGill as 2 pitches, and he's coming to the league with 3. So
Victor Acosta, not hitting for much power this year, but guy who can walk.
He's pretty young too, right?
18 years old. Yep.
Yeah. So
Sandy Leon. So just what the Twins needed, another catcher, Sandy Leon, and they all had to give up was some guy named Ian Hamilton, who is listed as a relief pitcher. Any quick tidbits about Ian Hamilton you want to share there?
No, not really. No.
How old is Ian Hamilton? Where's he going? The Guardians. He's going to the Cleveland Guardians. Where the hell are the Cleveland Guardians? I can't find. Dude,
he's a relief pitcher under control for the next 4 years, so that sounds like Cleveland.
Oh, okay, yeah, that sounds. And if anybody can fix him, it's going to be them. Who's next? Jake Lamb, going to the Mariners.
Hometown kid coming back home. I was surprised by this because Jake Lamb was actually doing pretty well in LA, felt as a platoon DH, and I didn't really think Seattle needed this, but Los Angeles gets a little bit of money and opens up a 40-man roster spot.
Well, and not just that. Yeah, they got the best player of all time, cash considerations, going back to the Dodgers. Toronto, oh, this one was hilarious. Whit Merrifield going to the Blue Jays. Now he's going to get vaccinated. Jackass. The players that go back to the Royals are Samad Taylor and Maximo Castillo. Maximo Castillo, didn't he play for the Blue Jays already in the big league club this year?
Yes, he did.
With disastrous results, I think.
Something like that. And Samad Taylor, kind of an interesting prospect. Kind of profiles a lot like Merrifield, just kind of a utility guy, good speed. So no, he actually Castillo had a 3 ERA in 20 innings, 9 games, 2 of them starts. 23 years old.
Yeah, 23 years old, could be an adequate starter when it's all said and done. And then Samad Taylor also, now he's 24. He just turned 24 last month. Okay, 24, 5'10", 160. I see where you're getting the Whit Merrifield comps there.
Yeah, and he had a huge year last year where he really tapped into some power, but started striking out almost a little bit too much in Double-A. And this year kind of brought it back down to what he normally does. And good, like I said, good speed, plays multiple positions. So it's a very Kansas City guy.
And the Blue Jays are not done. They also get Mitch White and Alex De Jesus. Mitch White also has played so far this year, right?
Yeah, he's made many spot starts for the Dodgers, he just started for the Blue Jays last night. So
yeah, the next version of Ross Stripling going to the Blue Jays.
There you go.
Mitch White, and then Alex De Jesus is a 20-year-old shortstop. Nick Frasso is the guy going to the Dodgers, and he's 23 years old.
Love Nick Frasso. Yeah, big-bodied pitcher. Already playing 100 or already hitting 100 with ease. And then he goes to and he's not walking. He doesn't walk guys. Like when you got a guy that throws so hard and so good, and then he doesn't walk guys. And it pains me because the Dodgers should not be allowed to have this guy. He is too good.
They are the creme de la creme in terms of player development and scouting.
0.7 ERA in 25 innings in A ball, and in 11 innings in high A. 0.82 ERA. Walks per 9 are just minuscule. Strikeouts are north of 12, 13 per 9.
14 sometimes. Yeah, and let me ask you, so you said 100 miles per hour for this kid?
Yeah.
So just to show you that these prospect grades and these prospect rankings, they're dynamic. They always change because players change and develop. And right now, the Fangraphs grade: 45 out of 55 fastball, 40 out of 45 curveball, 40 out of 50 changeup, 30 out of 40 cutter, 30 out of 50 command, 40 future value. If Sean is fawning over this kid,
I think he's going to be so good.
Those numbers are going to go up.
And the fact that the Dodgers like got him, like, is just one of those things.
All right. What's next? Brent Rooker for Cam Gallagher. Oh, the Padres got Cam Gallagher. Okay. The catcher.
San Diego needed, I guess, a backup. But Brent Rooker played catcher too. So, like, if you needed a backup catcher, why didn't you just put Rooker there? I don't know.
Because Cam Gallagher has recent experience, and Brent Rooker is listed as an outfielder. So,
I know he played some catcher though.
Okay. Well, they wanted Cam Gallagher. So Rooker's 27 years old as well. The Padres obviously wanted Cam Gallagher, who is 29 years old and has been backing up Salvador Perez for a long time.
Okay, Rooker has not played catcher. I was thinking of Ryan Jeffers.
Oh, yeah, the other guy, and he's hurt. And he's with the Twins, by the way, not the Royals. Tucker Davidson going to the Angels, and so does Jesse Chavez, which I don't get this deal. But Raisel Iglesias going to the Braves. So.
This was a straight salary dump. I don't care what people say. Like, it's just it angers me that Atlanta was able to get him basically just by taking on a salary, which of course basically replaces Will Smith's salary. They matched up pretty close this year, and Iglesias under control for the next, I think, 3 years. So
very interesting trade. And the Tucker Davidson, I think he's still 25.
He's technically still a prospect, but
he's not. But,
he's giving me the
and then Jesse Chavez, longtime relief pitcher. Yeah. Okay, Boston gets Eric Hosmer, and for their troubles, they also get Corey Rosier and Max Ferguson, and of course the best player at the trade deadline that they can get.
Cash considerations.
You're goddamn right. And then the Padres get former highly touted prospect Jason Groom.
Yeah, it has dealt with a lot of injuries. I'm shocked that the Boston actually included him in this deal, that they couldn't have given up anybody with, less upside. I thought that was interesting. So I thought that was I don't know the money side of how much San Diego sent to Boston for Hosmer or with Hosmer, but pretty good get to get Groom.
Yeah, and then Max Ferguson, middle infielding prospect. Speed is the thing, but there's nothing else much there. But the speed is a 70 grade. Corey Rosier is an outfielder, also 22 years old. Speed is a thing for Corey Rosier, but not much of else. So they got two speed guys, young speed guys there. The Red Sox did. Austin Romine, our guy, Austin Romine, big controversial topic last year, going to the Reds for cash considerations. The Yankees get Harrison Bader for Jordan Montgomery.
That deal was so weird. If they turn around and pivot and get Pablo Lopez, okay, the good deadline for Cashman, but trading all that pitching depth and Jordan Montgomery for Harrison Bader,
they realized that
didn't really make sense.
They realized that Aaron Hicks is going to get hurt too, so they might as well have Harrison Bader, who I believe is also
who's also hurt. Yeah.
What's his injury there? Do you know?
I think it's a shoulder off the top of my head, but I'm not sure.
Moving on, we just mentioned Mickey Moniak and going to the Angels.
It's his foot. It's his foot.
Oh, okay.
Which is basically the shoulder of your lower body. I mean,
no, I get it. It's like Bader's supposed to be a fast guy, and you can't be fast if you have a foot. But anyway, Mickey Moniak, we just mentioned him, the former number 1 pick overall, going to the Angels. So does Jadiel Sanchez, who is a 21-year-old outfielder as well. Noah Syndergaard going to the Phillies there. So Jadiel Sanchez is the guy I'm not aware of, but 6'2", 185, 21-year-old. Still a work in progress there. Speed might be the thing, but it's not showing up in terms of the counting stats. So
Syndergaard in front of the Phillies defense is not going to be good. That's going to be very bad.
Yeah, well, I am here for that. Kirk Casale and Matt Boyd. Matt Boyd? He
was in San Francisco rehabbing. He had a elbow operation that San Francisco has kind of, I think there's an option for next year in case he didn't really pitch this year. So Seattle kind of building up, hopefully, if anything, down the stretch, you throw him in the bullpen and you have a nice lefty.
Michael Stifler and Andy Thomas going to the Giants there.
Stifler got traded?
Yeah, he got traded for someone else's mom. Detroit gets Sawyer Gibson and Michael Fulmer going to the Twins. So Twins bolstering that bullpen. Sawyer Gibson, how old is he? He is 24, supposed to be a starting pitcher. Michael Givens, that's a decent get for you guys. Michael Givens going to the Mets for Saul Gonzalez, who's also a pitcher. Go ahead.
Like 18, 19-year-old pitching prospect.
22, man. Come on.
Is he? Oh, I thought he was still like in really low ball.
Listen, bro, you don't work for the Mets. You don't have to sell me on Saul Gonzalez's age, okay? I know what you're trying to do.
Okay, so he's he was in the complex league last year. He's A-ball this year.
Yeah,
I thought he was still in the complex.
Yeah, big strikeouts, low walks. So the Cubs have a thing going here. That's a what do you call it?
Only one start this year. Interesting.
Oh, oops, I didn't see that. That is interesting. We don't have time to talk about that, but yes, so far, no. Anyway, we don't have time. Okay. We got to get going. Sorry, yep. I was curious about Sorry Gibson, but yeah, more of the same. Oh, wow. Okay, so in AA with the Tigers, 12.6 strikeout per nine, 1.80 walk per nine. So some promise there going to the Tigers because they need it because all their promising pitchers are hurt. Let's look at this crap right here. Trevor Rosenthal. I didn't realize he was still here.
Yeah, he was also on the Giants signed him, even though he was hurt, rehabbing. I think there's an option for next year. The same situation. But yeah, Trevor Rosenthal and I believe the next trade, Matt Bush. Those were the two guys that were acquired that made Dinelson Lamet kind of expendable.
Interesting. Wow. Okay, so this is how you balance the fact that you traded away one of the best Premier's relief pitchers in this current era. Tristan Peters, I'm waiting for this stupid thing to load up. Lefty outfielder, nothing to brag about in terms of the prospect grades. The controls his strikeouts and can walk a lot. Then you mentioned it, Matt Bush going to the Brewers for Mark Mathias and Antoine Kelly. You like those guys or no?
Mathias came up and was like a nice utility player for him last year when they were kind of short and Keston Hiura forgot how to hit a baseball. Don't know much about Kelly.
Kelly, 60 fastball, 60-70 slider. Ooh, okay.
Another minor league lefty.
Yeah.
And yet no actual lefty aside from Will Smith and that one dude was traded.
And walk control problems of the wazoo for Antoine Kelly.
Yeah.
We're almost done here. Jeremy Beasley going to the Pirates for cash considerations to the Blue Jays. The Oakland Athletics get Carlos Gorate from the Cardinals. Cardinals get Austin Allen and the couple. Oh, okay. Oh, we're already in August. I'm not going to mention this August 6 moves. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I actually like St. Louis getting Austin Allen.
Yeah.
I liked Austin Allen. Lefty hitting catchers that you don't see too many of them, and I want them all to do well.
Oh, well, that's so sweet of you. Yeah. And Austin Allen, Yadier Molina replacement, right? Yadier Molina replacement.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, because he's so easily replaceable.
Oh, so he has a 50. Austin Allen has a 56% strikeout rate and 16 plate appearances with Oakland this year.
I love Austin Allen. I always like Austin Allen.
In 8 plate appearances last year, he had a 134 WRC plus.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're big fans of small samples.
Hey, lefty power. He's always shown it at every level, except the major league level.
He's Mike Zunino.
You know the one that's most important.
The left-handed Mike Zunino. Got it. Hey, listen, man. Thank you. If you made it this far, thanks for listening. There was a lot of trades to cover. I'm supposed to be out like half hour ago, but appreciate Sean humoring me a little bit here. You have a podcast tonight?
Yeah, I believe so. We'll have it posted in Baseball Life just like this one. So we'll see you there.
All right. I am Felipe. That is Sean. Hope you enjoy the show, and we'll see you next time.